All right, let's have some fun. I've got my ciphering glasses on. Okay, so here's our switch panel, and I showed you that before. It looks pretty cool. Basically, in order to get the print to show, you just sand it down. You put a base color on there and then sand it down until the print starts to show. But let's go ahead and hook up power. The red wire will go to the fuse block under fan. Okay, and the black wire goes to ground. And check this out. See if you can get in there. Wow. Okay, we have fanage. And it goes up and down in speed. And so we know that the fan circuit works. Let's move on to the compressor circuit. I'm assuming, because it gets power from the same source as the fan, and so I'm assuming that it will go, it'll switch and go to the fuse block, and then from the fuse connection there, it'll go out to the compressor clutch through the pressure switch. So let me check that, see if it changes state. All right, let me show you the progress that I made with the vents. I used some self-adhesive Velcro, and you can use the hooks or the felt, whichever you think's best. And basically, I put that in between the hinge, and now these are really tight. See that? No slop, no flopping around, etc., etc. This is one that's installed in the short part of the plenum, and look at that. They are tight, and I detail this in my other video, but you definitely want to do this because these things, usually when I get a full-size Jeep, these things are flopping around and they just hang. There's no way to point them at any specific location, pointing them up or down. And so that's definitely something you want to work on when you reassemble this. And also this here, remember I was talking about the panel that had warped on the plenum? And this is a common issue. And what I'm going to do before I install this is I'm going to clamp this down, and then I'm going to use a heat gun and heat this up and then let it cool. And when it cools, it'll rest back to where it should be. I have glued these in the past, glued these down, and then you can't get it to slip over the other piece. So there needs to be some flex, but just over time and heat, these things end up just basically peeling away. So if I use the heat gun, clamp that, use the heat gun on it, it's going to be in a more natural state where it should be, and it'll still pop together. All right, let me show you what I've got on the plenum going into the vehicle. I mounted up the hoses and everything underneath that go through the wall, the firewall. And I also put together the drain, the condensate drain. This is a really, really tight fit, and there's a screw here at the bottom of the dash that holds that in. So I'm going to remove that screw. That'll give me the flexibility to pull this out a little bit so that I can get this up and inside there. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with those details, and I'll show you when it's all together. All right, so we've got the plenum installed, and it all looks good here. It's fitting like it should. I put the retainer bolt back in there to hold the dash, and I've connected the compressor suction from the evaporator, and from the evaporator I connected to the other side of the pressure switch, and the condenser connects to the high pressure side, and the pressure switch connects to the accumulator. So right now, the only thing that's really left is I'm tracing out these wires here. I need to find the clutch signal, and for the air conditioner to turn the clutch on and off. And it may be this brown and white, so I'm going to trace that out. And I know that it does come off of the high pressure switch, and there's a red and an orange. Now the red is common hot, and the orange goes back to the unit. So I'm thinking that from there it comes back for the clutch. So I'm going to look that up on intranet and keep on working on it, and then we'll pull a vacuum on this thing, make sure there's no leaks, and then we'll look at charging it. One of the things that that I do with my AC units is I will put auxiliary relays in here, and this is AC clutch, and this is the fan relay, and these are nice little units here. They actually have the fuse in the relay housing, and so you definitely want to test this, and an easy way to do that is we'll take and put power to the AC relay, and you can see that the fan is running, it's pulling. You can take a piece of paper or tissue paper and put it up there and make sure it's blowing the right way. So the relay and the circuit is working as it's supposed to, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the trigger signal for the clutch to turn this fan on, and we're also going to use it to fire the clutch, of course. And then so if we go to the clutch piece, let's see, where is that? Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that, but you can definitely hear it. That's the compressor clutch. So those circuits are working, so we're good to go. Okay, so I've traced out the control circuit. I went into the engine compartment, and I actually had to trace the wires from the fuse block to the clutch, because if you look at what's available in the wiring diagrams, AC is like an afterthought. And it does show like the clutch solenoid or coil, but it doesn't show you where it comes from. And when you look at the fuse blocks, it never shows you the AC fan circuit or the AC compressor parts of the fuse block. So I had to manually run all that out. And also, one of the things that I suspect is you got AC power coming in through the red wire, which is air conditioning power, and then it goes into the switch, which is the fan speed control, which is one set of contacts, and then it has another set of contacts that feed over to the controller for the temperature. And so the temperature, obviously you want the compressor to work at any fan speed, or I should say it stays hot all the time. If the fan is turned on, you're getting power to this little sensor here. This is the temperature sensor with the capillary tube, and then basically what it does is it engages the clutch which is the blue wire. I got it marked red and blue. The blue wire goes out to the compressor fuse block, and then it goes into the engine compartment, which in my case is a brown with a white tracer. And it should be, but it's not, it should be in line with the pressure switch. Now I chased out the pressure switch. Let me show you this. I chased out the pressure switch, and one lead goes to a common set of contacts, and I've not been able to figure that out. I believe it's a hot, but it's not consistent. And then the other one was tucked away inside the, which is this one, was tucked away inside the wiring harness, and it wasn't connected to anything. And so I'm going to take and clean this up. I'm actually going to isolate this and just put it into the clutch circuit. And the clutch circuit is going to go not to the clutch, but it's going to go to the relays, because these relays are made to handle a heavier load. So I'm going to keep the light load on the clutch circuit. And the clutch circuit that comes out of the controller is this piece right here. And so I'm going to use this as my control signal to turn the AC fan and the AC clutch on and off. And I'm going to run it in series with this pressure switch, and that'll simplify everything. And if I'm thinking correctly, the AC controls will get the power from the fan switch and be on all the time unless it's turned off. And then the temperature controller will switch on and off depending on the temperature that it's reading inside the plenum, and it will turn the output or the signal off and on as needed to run the clutch and the fan. So let me go ahead and get all that cleaned up and running, and if it doesn't work, I've got 3 other temperature controllers. I know the fan works, but I got 3 other temperature controllers that I can throw in there if the first one doesn't work. Okay, so we got the electrical controls working, and basically, just like I thought, I basically went right from the AC compressor out of the back of the fuse block that comes from the plenum controller through the pressure switch that I got jumped out right now, and then to the 2 coils, the AC clutch coil and the AC fan coil, and it works like it's supposed to. However, when I was pulling a vacuum on it, I found a leak on this high pressure side valve, and it's one of the old systems. It gives you the opportunity to open and close the valve right here, and it's not closing, so it is spewing Freon out this valve here. So I've got another one that hopefully we'll be able to replace it, and hopefully it's good. So that'll be our next step. Tomorrow we'll work on that, see if we can get a vacuum to be consistent. We're not going to do it tomorrow. I got appointments tomorrow. But that's what we'll do next, see if we can get a vacuum and make this baby work. And then I've got to pack away all those wires that I pulled out. But anyway, it's eating an elephant 1 bite at a time. All right, guys, talk to you later. All right, so we're wrapping things up here on the air conditioning. I did get an aluminum radiator. I'm going to put that in because this thing's kind of beat up and acting like it wants to leak. I'm sure it doesn't have much life left in it. But you can see the fans running. I've got the switch bypassed right now, but compressor clutch is pulled in. I've got my wiring done. I've still got to take and put the wiring harness back together. So let's go look at the front. Okay, so we have Coolidge, and this is what it looks like. Looks pretty good. And these here, these vents, after I put the felt in there, they don't flop around anymore. So everything is on track, and I have got air conditioning. I'm gonna clean some things up and be driving this baby. And I'm gonna put the Muscle grill on, the one that we refurbished a couple weeks ago, and this thing's gonna look great. All right, Rock Lawrence out.